Everyone in the village knew his name. When people spoke about strength, they spoke about him. When people felt fear, they felt safe because he existed. He was tall, quiet, and calm. His eyes were sharp, but his voice was soft. He did not talk much. He did not complain. He did not show pain. People said, "This man cannot break." From a young age, he trained harder than anyone else. While other boys rested, he stayed. While others slept, he practiced. His hands were full of scars. His body carried old pain. But his face never showed it. When his teacher once asked, "Does it hurt?" he smiled and said, "No." That smile became his habit. As years passed, his skill grew. His sword moved fast. His body moved with control. He won fight after fight. Soon people did not see him as a man. They saw him as a shield. When danger came, they called him. When fear rose, they trusted him. And every time he stood tall. Inside, something else was happening. But no one saw it. Because strong men learn one thing very early: hide what you feel. At night, when the village slept, he sat alone. The room was quiet. A small candle burned beside him. He removed his armor slowly. Not because it was heavy, but because his body felt tired in a way rest could not fix. He looked at his hands. Hands that saved lives. Hands that held a sword. Hands that never reached out for help. From inside his armor, he took out a folded paper. Small. Soft from being opened many times. He did not open it. He just held it. That paper carried a voice from another place. A place he avoided. A place called home. He told himself, later. He always said that word. Later, when the war ends. Later, when the village is safe. Later, when he is done being strong. But later never came. The next morning the sun rose red. A sign of coming trouble. The village leader came to him and bowed. "There is danger near the mountains," he said. "We need you." He nodded. No fear. No question. He wore his armor again. The mask of strength returned. As he walked through the village, people watched him. Some smiled with hope. Some whispered prayers. A child ran toward him and stopped. The child looked up and asked, "Will you come back?" He paused. Just for a moment. "Yes," he said. Another promise. The road to the mountains was long and quiet. The wind moved through the trees like a warning. His friend walked beside him. An old friend. A loyal one. "You look tired," the friend said softly. He smiled again. "I am fine." That smile ended the talk. Strong men often do this. They close doors before anyone can enter. As they reached the open field, the enemy appeared. The fight was fast. Loud. Violent. Steel met steel. Dust rose. Shouts filled the air. He fought like always. Focused. Controlled. Sure. But something was different. His arms felt heavy. His breath felt short. Between strikes, his mind moved away. To a small house far from the field. To a paper he never opened. A single moment of distraction. That was enough. An unseen strike hit his sword. The sound was wrong. Metal bent. His blade curved slightly, not broken but damaged. His eyes widened. That had never happened before. He stepped back. The enemy fell soon after, but the damage was done. Not to the sword alone. People cheered. They did not notice the bend. But he did. Later, when the field was quiet, he stood alone. He looked at the sword closely. A tiny curve. A small flaw. But he felt something deeper. A crack inside. That night he did not sleep. He sat again with the candle. The bent sword rested beside him. He took out the paper. His hand shook. Still he did not open it. Because opening it meant feeling. And feeling was something he avoided for years. He remembered his teacher's old words. "Steel that never bends, breaks." He laughed quietly. "I did not bend," he whispered. "So why do I feel broken?" Outside the wind grew stronger. The candle flickered. And for the first time the strongest man felt afraid. Not of enemies. Not of death. But of what would happen if he stopped being strong. Because if he removed the mask, who would he be? And if he fell, who would stand for everyone else? He did not know. That question followed him into the dark. The sword was not broken. That was what he told himself. It was only a small bend. A thing that could be fixed. But every time he looked at it, his chest felt heavy. The village celebrated the victory. Fire burned. Drums played. People laughed. They stood near him, happy and proud. "You saved us again," someone said. "You never fail," said another. He smiled. The mask stayed on. Inside the crack grew. That night he cleaned his sword slowly. He rubbed the metal again and again. The bend remained. He pushed harder. The sword did not move. He stopped. For the first time he felt angry at the blade. Then he felt angry at himself. "Why now?" he whispered. Strong men do not ask such questions. They accept and move forward. So he stood up and put the sword away. The next morning his body felt slow. Not weak, just heavy. He trained anyway. He always trained. Each strike felt normal at first. Then his arms began to shake. He stopped and breathed. Other warriors watched quietly. No one spoke. No one dared. Because strong men are not questioned. Later that day a messenger arrived. A small fight near the river. Nothing serious. The leader looked at him. "We need you again." He nodded. "Always yes." His friend walked beside him once more. "You should rest," the friend said. He smiled. "I am fine." The friend stopped walking. "I have known you for many years," he said. "You were strong before you were silent." Those words hit harder than any blade. He turned away. Silence was easier. At the river the fight ended quickly. But his body moved slower than before. One mistake. Then another. Still he won. Still people cheered. But whispers followed. He looked tired. "He is not as fast." He heard them. Strong men hear everything. They just pretend they do not. That evening he sat alone again. The candle. The room. The quiet. He finally opened the folded paper. Inside was a simple drawing. A house. 2 small figures. One tall figure standing far away. Below it written in weak lines. "Come home." His throat tightened. His chest hurt. He folded the paper quickly and hid it again. "No," he said aloud. "Not now." But the picture stayed in his mind. The next days were worse. Small things went wrong. His grip slipped. His steps were late. His breath came faster. He covered it well. But inside he felt like he was carrying stones. One night he dreamed. He stood in the field alone. No enemy. No people. Only weight. The sword in his hand bent slowly. Until it snapped. He woke up sweating. For the first time in many years, fear stayed with him after waking. The next call came quickly. A bigger threat. Stronger enemies. The village needed him more than ever. People gathered as he prepared. They bowed low. Their trust was heavy. As he walked, his friend followed silently. At the edge of the road the friend spoke. "If you fall," he said, "we will catch you." He stopped walking. "No," he replied. "You must not see me fall." Those words closed the space between them. The battle was harder than before. Enemies pushed from all sides. He fought with skill, but his body resisted him. Pain shot through his arm. His breath broke. Still he refused to stop. Because stopping meant facing the truth. A sudden strike came from behind. He blocked it barely. The bent sword shook. His heart raced. Another strike. Another block. Then a sound. A sharp, ugly sound. The sword bent more. Not broken. But close. Time slowed. The world felt quiet. He pushed forward and ended the fight. Victory came again. But he stood there shaking. People shouted his name. He could not hear them. All he heard was the metals cry. That night rain fell hard. He sat in his room, wet armor beside him. The sword lay on the floor. Bent. Tired. Just like him. He remembered the old saying again. The strongest tree breaks first in the storm. He had laughed at it before. Now it scared him. Because he realized something painful. He had never rested. He had never shared weight. He had never bent. He had carried every fear, every promise, alone. And now his strength was eating itself. A knock came at the door. He did not answer. Another knock. Then silence. The door opened slowly. An old man stood there. The village teacher. His eyes were calm. Unmoving. "You are leaking," the old man said. He looked confused. "Strong men do not leak," the teacher continued. "They crack quietly." He felt exposed. The teacher poured tea and sat. "Come tomorrow," the old man said. "There is something you were never taught." He wanted to refuse. But he did not. Because deep inside he knew. The crack was real. And if he ignored it, the break would come. The morning was quiet. No drums. No shouting. No armor. For the first time in many years he walked without his sword. The village looked different when he was not walking as a warrior. People still bowed, but their eyes searched his face. He felt smaller. The old teacher lived at the edge of the village. A simple wooden house. No guards. No signs of power. Steam rose from a small pot of tea. The teacher waited. "You came?" the old man said. He nodded. "I do not know why," he replied. The teacher smiled softly. That is why you are here. They sat on the floor. The room smelled of wood and tea. The teacher poured 2 cups. His hands were steady. Tell me, the teacher said, what is strength? He answered without thinking. Not falling. The teacher shook his head. That is survival, not strength. Silence filled the room. Outside, the wind moved through the trees. The teacher stood and opened the door. Come, he said. They walked to the back of the house. A tall bamboo plant stood there. The wind pushed it. It bent. Moved. It did not break. Beside it stood an old tree. Thick. Hard. A branch lay broken on the ground. The teacher pointed. Which one is strong? He asked. He watched the bamboo move. He said nothing. The teacher spoke again. Samurai were not trained to be walls, he said. They were trained to be rivers. He felt confused. A river moves, the teacher continued. It bends. It changes. Yet it cuts stone. They returned inside. The teacher sat and looked at him deeply. You trained your body, the teacher said. You trained your sword. But you never trained your weight. What weight? He asked. The teacher placed his hand on his chest. This. The words hit him slowly. The teacher spoke calmly. Strong men break first because they carry everything alone. He felt his chest tighten. No one taught you this, the teacher continued. Because this lesson cannot be shouted. It must be felt. The teacher stood and took out an old scroll. On it was one simple word. Yield. Samurai called this hidden strength, the teacher said. To yield is not to lose. It is to survive. He remembered every time he said, I am fine. Every time he smiled instead of speaking. Every time he chose silence over truth. The teacher poured more tea. When you hold pain, the teacher said, you hold fire. When you share it, the fire becomes light. He lowered his head. No one had spoken to him like this before. Why me? He asked. Because you listened, the teacher replied. Your sword bent so your heart could open. Those words stayed in the air. The teacher asked him to close his eyes. Breathe, the teacher said. He did. At first his breath was fast. Then slower. Feel where you are heavy, the teacher said. His chest burned. His shoulders felt tight. Do not fight it, the teacher said. Let it move. A strange thing happened. Tears filled his eyes. He opened them quickly. The teacher did not look away. Good, the teacher said. Strong men are taught that tears are weakness. The teacher taught him the opposite. Tears are pressure leaving the body, the teacher said. He wiped his face. Ashamed. Relieved. The teacher stood and picked up a wooden sword. Attack me, he said. He hesitated. I have no blade, he said. Neither do I, the teacher replied. They moved. He attacked with force. The teacher stepped aside. Again. And again. The teacher never blocked. He redirected. After many tries he was breathing hard. The teacher stood calm. This is the secret, the teacher said. You do not meet force with force. You meet it with space. He felt something shift inside. You are always tight, the teacher continued. Tight mind. Tight heart. Tight body. The teacher tapped his chest gently. Open this, he said. And the rest will follow. They sat again. Time passed. The sun moved. Before he left, the teacher spoke one last time. You will face another battle, he said. You will feel fear. When that moment comes, do not hold. Bend. He stood at the door. What if I fall? He asked. The teacher smiled. Then you learn how to stand with others. He walked back through the village. People bowed. He bowed back. Something felt different. Not stronger. Lighter. At night, he took out the folded paper again. This time he opened it fully. He did not hide his breath. He let it hurt. And for the first time, he did not feel alone. The warning came at dawn. A runner entered the village, breath broken, eyes wide. The enemy is coming, he said. More than before. The village fell silent. All eyes moved to him. The strongest one. The shield. He felt the weight return. But something was different now. He remembered the teacher's words. But, do not hold. He picked up his sword. The bend was still there. He did not fix it. He left it as it was. The road to the battlefield felt longer than ever. Each step echoed in his chest. His friend walked beside him. You look calm, the friend said. I am scared, he replied. The friend stopped. Those words had never been spoken before. They walked together in silence. When they reached the open field, the enemy waited. Larger numbers. Sharper weapons. The wind howled. The first clash was brutal. Steel screamed. Men shouted. Dust swallowed the ground. He moved forward but not as before. He watched his breath. He watched his steps. He did not rush. But the enemy pushed hard. A blow hit his side. Pain flashed. He felt it. He did not hide it. He stepped back. Another warrior moved in front of him. Someone else took the strike. That had never happened before. His mind screamed to push forward. But his body remembered the lesson. Space. The fight grew wild. He saw fear on his people's faces. Old instinct returned. Carry it all. He moved ahead again. Too fast. Too hard. The enemy leader appeared. Strong. Heavy. Angry. They clashed. Strike after strike. The bent sword shook. His arms burned. His breath broke. He could hear his heart pounding. One heavy strike landed. The sword bent more. Then, crack. Not loud, but clear. The blade split. Not fully broken, but useless. Time froze. The enemy raised his weapon. He stood unarmed. The world waited. Then he did something no one expected. He stepped back. He raised his hand. I need help, he shouted. The sound shocked everyone. A strong man asking for help. Two warriors moved instantly. They blocked the strike. Another pulled him away. The enemy fell soon after. The battle ended. Victory came. But he sat on the ground, shaking. The broken sword lay beside him. People stared. Some whispered. Some looked away. His friend knelt beside him. You lived, the friend said. He nodded. Yes, he replied. And I did not do it alone. Later rain fell. He stood under the sky, the broken sword in his hands. Not angry. Not ashamed. Just honest. That night he did not sit alone. Others joined him. They spoke. They laughed softly. They shared silence. He listened. At home he opened the paper again. He pressed it to his chest. The next morning he visited the teacher. The teacher looked at the sword. You bent, the teacher said. Yes, he replied. And, the teacher asked. I am still here, he said. The teacher smiled. The strongest moment, the teacher said, is when you let the mask fall. He left the house lighter than ever. The village still needed him. But not as a shield. As a man. The village woke slowly. The battle was over. The danger had passed. But something else had changed. He walked through the streets without his sword. For the first time, no metal touched his side. People noticed. Some looked confused. Some looked worried. A few smiled. He stopped at the small house near the edge of the village. The door was old. The wood was weak. He knocked. The door opened. Silence filled the space between them. A child stood there holding the same paper drawing. The child did not speak. The child ran forward and hugged him. He froze. Then he knelt. His arms moved slowly, then tight. He closed his eyes. The weight he carried for years fell in one moment. Inside the house, everything was simple. A small table. A few cups. A warm light. He sat down. I stayed away too long, he said. No excuses. No strength voice. Just truth. The child placed the drawing on the table. I made it so you come back, the child said. He nodded. I am here, he replied. That night he slept deeply. No dreams. No fear. Just rest. The next days were different. He trained again but not alone. He invited others to train with him. He asked questions. He laughed when he failed. People felt safe around him in a new way. Not because he was unbreakable, but because he was real. One morning he returned to the teacher. I want to rebuild, he said. The teacher nodded. Then begin with listening. They trained slowly. Breath, balance, movement, not power. The teacher spoke while they moved. Old strength was about holding, the teacher said. New strength is about sharing. He understood now. The sword was fixed. Not made straight. Just balanced. A small curve remained. A reminder. When the village faced small problems, he did not rush in. He sent others. He trusted them. He stood beside them, not in front. One evening his friend joined him. You changed, the friend said. Yes, he replied. Are you weaker? The friend asked. He smiled. No, he said. I am lighter. Time passed. Stories spread. Not about the strongest man, but about the man who learned to bend. Young warriors came to him. They asked about strength. He told them this. Train your body. Train your skill. But train your heart more. One asked, what if we break? He answered calmly. Then you are still alive. On a quiet night he sat outside his home. The drawing hung on the wall. The sword rested nearby. He looked at the stars. He remembered who he was. Not the shield. Not the legend. Just a man who learned too late. But not too late. The teacher's final words returned to him. Strong men break first because they carry everything alone. He smiled. Now he did not. Final message for the audience. Strength is not silence. Strength is not holding pain forever. Strength is knowing when to bend. Strength is asking for help. Strength is letting others stand with you. If this story feels close to you, you are not weak. You are just carrying too much. End of story.